Of all the many objects in the world, why do some of them, for whatever strange reason, become haunted? The following are just some of the creepiest haunted objects of all time. Number 10. The Cursed Chair of Death. Convicted murderer Tommy Busby was about to be hanged in 1702. After finishing the meal, he stood up and shouted, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in my chair." During World War II, many locals would notice that the soldiers who sat in the chair would never return from war. In recent years, at least 5 people have died soon after they sat in the chair. The pub owner eventually donated the cursed chair to the local museum in 1972. To keep the museum patrons safe, they've displayed the chair 5 feet in the air so nobody can sit in this cursed object. Number 9. The Tallman's bunk beds. These ordinary looking bunk beds were bought in 1987 by Alan and Debbie Tallman for their children. However, strange occurrences started to happen. Whilst listening to the radio, it would suddenly change stations. They started to become ill, and when they slept in the bunks, they stated that they could see a witch. Eventually, the Tallman brought in a pastor to cleanse the house. However, this would make things worse. One day, returning home, the father heard a voice beckoning him into the garage saying, "Come here," where he saw the room on fire. Returning with a fire extinguisher, he found that the fire had disappeared. This led him to burn the bunk beds. Once they were destroyed, the paranormal activity stopped. Number 8. The Dybbuk box. A Dybbuk box became famous one day and was listed on eBay, claiming that the item was haunted and contained an ancient malevolent spirit. The seller stated that the box was originally left in his workshop basement. After purchasing the box, the new owner heard terrible sounds emerging from it, and a terrible odor of cat urine would be in the air, and light bulbs started shattering. Later, the man started suffering from recurring nightmares, seeing shadow figures darting around in his peripheral vision. He decided to sell the box on eBay, and with the story of his horrifying experience. It was purchased by Jason Haxton, curator of a medical museum in Missouri. Number 7. The Conjure Chest. The Conjure Chest was built by a slave for Jacob Cooley's son. Though the chest was hand-built beautifully, Jacob did not think it was impressive and beat the slave to death. The other slaves were so angered by his death that they cursed the chest. The slave owner's firstborn son died as an infant, and 70 more deaths were later attributed to this Conjure Chest. The chest is now displayed at the Kentucky History Museum in Frankfurt. Number 6. Annabelle. Annabelle was owned by 2 college students who, stating that the doll had paranormal powers. Even though the doll looked very ordinary, it was known to move around their apartment on its own, and one time was seen standing upright on its ragdoll legs. Scared, the girls brought in a local medium who said that the doll was possessed by a young girl who had passed away. But when the paranormal activity increased the vicious scratches when a male friend came to visit, they found the doll was actually possessed by a demon after they contacted renowned psychic investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The doll is now encased in a glass display cabinet in the Occult Museum in Connecticut, with a sign that reads, "Warning, positively do not open." Number 5. Valentino's ring. Rudolph Valentino was one of the most famous silent actors of all time. His career ended abruptly in 1926, where he died of peritonitis, not long after buying a ring. The ring showed him and his friend a premonition of Valentino as a corpse. Ignoring the premonition, Valentino's career was plagued with bad luck, and he died not long after. After his death, both his lover and the actor who played him in the biography of his life also died soon after wearing this haunted ring. Number 4. Robert the Doll. This creepy-looking doll was given to Robert Otto in 1896 by a servant that practiced black magic, who took a disliking to their family. Soon after, the doll started to showcase paranormal activity, like suddenly appearing in windows when the house was empty, vandalizing rooms, and breaking objects. All of these were blamed on poor Robert, who was now terrified of the doll. Years later, the doll was found in an attic, and owned by a little girl who said the doll wanted to kill her and do terrible things. The doll is now kept in a museum in Key West, and is still apparently cursing people who take photographs of him without his permission. Number 3. The Woman from Lemb. This statue was carved from pure limestone and is nicknamed the Goddess of Death. Dated back to 3500 BC, this statue has been known to kill many of its owners. First owned by Lord Elfont, all 7 of his family members died from mysterious causes within 6 years of having the statue. The next 2 owners of the statue would also meet a grisly fate, along with their entire families. The statue now sits in a museum. Though curators will not admit that it has supernatural properties, no one has handled the statue after the first museum worker died suddenly after handling it. Number 2. The Anguished Man. The Anguished Man is a painting that is currently owned by Sean Robinson, who keeps it locked away after its grandmother told him that the painting was evil. The artist apparently used his own blood mixed with paint and committed suicide shortly after. When Sean decided to hang up the painting, strange activities started to occur. His family would hear crying and voices. His son would push down the stairs and his wife felt someone stroking her hair when she was alone. This painting is now hidden from view in the basement. Number 1. A painting called The Hands Resist Him. Known to be one of the most haunted paintings in the world, was sold to a couple in 2000. The new owners claimed that the boy in the painting had been seen moving and on occasions had completely disappeared from the painting altogether. Some people who have seen the painting have started screaming, had air blown in their faces, and some have even felt sick by the sight of it. The first 2 people to have ever witnessed the painting died within 1 year of viewing it. Hey, make sure you subscribe to see our next Weird World video.